If you've been here for a really long time, like my old account, or you know me in my personal life, you will know I don't like lamb. It's oddly, oddly relevant, okay? This all started. I was dating a guy maybe like 3 years ago. I really liked him. We did New Year's in Whistler. We went to a very, very nice dinner. It was like a 5-course meal, and I had never had lamb before. I tried lamb. I don't like lamb. I grew up in northwestern Ontario where people partridge hunt, bear hunt. My family was hunters. Well, like my dad and my grandfather hunted, and all around me people hunted. I've tried, stuff. I don't like gamey food. I don't like food that has a strong like meat flavor to it. I just don't. Okay? I don't like gamey. Anyways, goat, lamb, duck, partridge, bear, deer, bison, all have a distinct gamey flavor to them. So at this dinner, I try lamb because I'm willing to try most things, not all things, but most things once. Like, I'm open to it. And if I don't like it, I just make a mental note of like, okay, I don't like that. So I tried the lamb. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I don't think I'm a huge fan of lamb. I don't really like this. And he goes, this is a really good cut of lamb. If you don't like this, you probably just don't like lamb because this is really well done lamb. Like, he liked lamb. And I was like, okay, noted. This becomes relevant in the entirety of my fucking dating history. Because then I'm seeing probably like the oldest guy I had ever dated. And we're at a restaurant and he loved to share dinners. And he wanted to get lamb one night. And I said, I don't like lamb. And he tried to convince me. And I said, no, I don't like lamb. I just don't like lamb. I've tried lamb. I don't like lamb. I know this about myself. And so he drops it. But then we're out again. And somehow he, again, offers lamb. And I was like, no, I don't like lamb. I think you just forgot. Even sometimes when you tell people you don't like things or you have allergies, they forget. I chalk it up to he forgot. Tell me why. There's another fucking time we're out and we're at a pizza place and the pizza wasn't super filling. And I was like, I wouldn't mind like grabbing something else because it was like one of those fire roasted pizzas. It just wasn't super filling. I was like, I kind of want meat. And he goes, oh, there's a grocery store across. They have really good lamb, whatever. I was so fucking annoyed. I was so annoyed. How many times do I have to say I don't like fucking lamb? Anyways, I am ending things with this man. He ended up just being super weird. But I'm at his place and I got mad at him and I said, get me an Uber. I'm going home. And this man, I'm sitting on the couch waiting for my Uber and he goes, oh, are you hungry? Like, you have a little bit of time before the Uber gets here. Do you want something to eat? And I said, oh, what do you have? He goes, oh, I have this lamb stew. Lamb stew. How many fucking times am I having to tell people I don't like fucking lamb? So then I decided, I knew during that time that was intentional. It had become so obviously intentional that this man was offering me something I didn't like and trying to convince me and trying to push boundaries. That is an example of them trying to fucking push boundaries, right? Tell me what, I had 2 dates. One last week on Tuesday, and then we had our second date. Yes, last night, right? First date, we go to this like brunch place, and I had looked at the menu and it looked okay, and we got there and I was looking at it and nothing seemed super appetizing to me, so I got salmon. I don't love seafood, right? I don't love like very fishy things, the same way I don't like really like gamey things. It's just my palate. I don't know what else I can say. But he sees I ordered the salmon and he goes, oh, you like seafood? You like, and I go, nah, like, I'll have seafood. Like, I love me some like sushi, but I'm not like an oyster person or like mussels or anything like that. He goes, okay, noted. Our second date, he books a reservation somewhere. I look at the menu. I'm like, this looks great. Then he sends me a message the day of, so yesterday, and says, hey, I actually managed to get us in at this restaurant I really like. And I've been at that restaurant before. It is exclusively seafood. Last time I was there on another date, and there was nothing I wanted on the menu, so I ended up ordering steak, and the steak was horrible because it's not a steak place, it's a seafood place. They're very good at seafood, but I didn't like anything on their menu. So I tell him, hey, I'd really prefer if we just like kept to the place we were if we went to a steakhouse. Like, I appreciate the thought, but there's nothing on the menu I've been there before. And he goes, okay, no worries. So we go to the restaurant last night. The date's awkward. It's just awkward. I can get into it, but honestly, one of the things that came up, we're talking about food, and I said, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like seafood, which I've already told him. Then he starts talking about lamb. And the day before when I talked about seafood, I also told him, oh, one big thing, I don't like lamb. I don't fucking like lamb. This man turns around on our second date and starts talking about this like neck piece of lamb he had somewhere. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I don't like lamb. And he goes, no, I don't like lamb either. But there was this one time it was done really well, and like then starts trying to justify lamb to me. And I was just sitting there. I called my sister after the date and I was like, you'll never fucking guess what came up again. Because it's a running fucking joke at this point with everyone in my life about these men offering me and trying to convince me to eat fucking lamb. And I sent him a text this morning and I was like, hey, like, really enjoyed dinner. It was very, whatever, but it's just not going to work out. Like, we're just not on the same page. And he was very polite and kind about it. But I just sit back and it's like, men don't respect boundaries. There's a lot of men that don't respect boundaries. And it's stuff that's just as small as that. Like, it's also when you tell a man you don't want to drink and they're like, oh, well, just one, or like, oh, like, don't you want to try this, or don't you want to do this? And it's like, I am an adult. I'm not a child. I'm not someone that, like, I have tried food. I have gone out. And it's the fact that they will attempt to get you to change your mind on something that you have a firm belief in. And it's, the thing is I've been out with a lot of men who aren't like this. And what gets me every time with men like this is just the fact it's really not that fucking big of a deal if I don't like lamb. There are many fucking options. There's many food. Like last night, he wanted to, he's like, bone marrow is really good. And I'm like, okay, I'll try bone marrow. Like, I hadn't tried it and I was open to trying it. The second that plate came towards the table and I got the waft of it, I knew I wasn't going to like it because I could smell that distinct meat smell. I tried it. I still tried a bite of it and I was like, no, it's not for me. But thank you for like, because now I know I don't like bone marrow. But it's wild how they will push and push and push. And it seems like such a minor thing. But I just extrapolate that to a bedroom setting. Extrapolate that into like the rest of your fucking life. Every time you have an opinion, every time you state something that you like or don't like, they're trying to convince you to go another way. And it's like, I'm a grown adult. I'm not a 16-year-old girl who's never had something or never like existed. I'm not this sheltered little child that you need to try and convince. It's exhausting. And I actually noticed myself last night. After the lamb thing, I started dissociating. And not like in a trauma response, but just in a like, I was going to finish my meal and leave. And I just fucking lamb. My other point here, because there's always like something to take away, is find your lamb. Find something that you feel strongly about that is not dangerous, that is just a small little minor detail that you can throw in at some point to see how they react. Because if you told me, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that lamb would have been such a fucking issue dating, I would have never believed you. But you give a man, tell him something you don't like and see how much he tries to convince you to fucking do it.